founder of the Dot Consulting, an education consulting firm that helps you find a way to connect the dots between everyday activities and computer science. And I wanted to share with you a really cool opportunity. This week, we are celebrating World Statistics Day, which was actually October the 20th. But you could celebrate this at any point. But it's a great way to showcase how we use math, statistics, and data to help us drive everyday decisions. So I wanted to share an activity that you could do in your classroom with your students or in any extracurricular activity that you may be working with kids or even adults. So data is really important, and it helps drive decisions for us no matter what we're doing in the world. And in particular, it helps make decisions when we are looking for an answer or when we need to know more information. So I know you've seen a random coin toss happen when you've watched the beginning of a sporting event, or maybe you used it to see who goes first or who sits in the front seat. You've probably used it at some point. Well, in this particular instance, what we want to do is see if we can predict and figure out potentially the average of how many times a particular side of the coin is shown. So I found this great activity on PBS Learning. Random coin toss. You can see we're going to look at whether or not it's heads or tails. There's a click here that says support materials. And when you click on the first little piece, you're going to see the actual handout that you can use for this activity. And you could replicate this on your own as well. But the idea here is that you're going to conduct 10 trials, which is science, and we're going to do 2 tosses in each trial. So in trial 1, you're going to flip the coin and you're going to write down whether or not it was heads or tails. You could also, what we call, code that and say a head is 1 and a tail is 2, and actually write in the numbers if that would be something you wanted to try as well. Then you're going to go down through and see if you can begin to see the pattern and figure out what's actually happening. When you begin to see a pattern, you can begin to think about predictability. And that's all based on the single pieces of data that you have just experienced. So when you're flipping your coin, if you're getting heads, 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 you could predict that when you flip this coin, it is likely to land on heads. Or you could simply put in and figure out, count how many times it has head or tails and figure out the average. Lots of fun activities that you could do with that. Again, World Statistics Day is here to celebrate figuring out how we use data and how we use stats to help drive decisions. We see this every day whenever we're interacting at the grocery store, when we're watching YouTube, when we watch TV, when you think about going and just collecting leaves outside your house. You may collect a certain amount of one type. We just did an amazing leaf project with my young son where we had to collect 5 green leaves, 5 brown leaves. And it was a perfect time right now to be able to do that since it's fall. And all of those pieces are individual pieces of data that can then be collected and analyzed. So this particular activity, again, is a random coin toss. Just a little bit of fun you can have with your kids to see how many times the coin lands on heads or tails. Let me know how it goes. Send me a note at sharon@thedotconsulting.co or follow me on YouTube at Dr. Sharon Jones. And thanks so much for joining me for this snippet about World Statistics Day. It's a great way to share information about how data helps us is being used to help drive decisions. And have a great time. See you guys soon.